Alright guys, welcome back. You might notice that today is a little bit different. We've got a webcam, a microphone, and there's a cool little light here helping making my face shine nicely, but that's beside the point. So I thought I'd just do a bit of an overview on 3 trades. That's not all the trades for the week, but 3 good trades that I want to talk you through based on basically the similar concepts to what we talked about on the previous video, you know, when we was scalping in that 5-minute on GBPJPY. So I think it'd be nice to just go through a few of these again, just to show you which ones I'm talking about. If you follow my Instagram, I think the first one was, well, there was 2 on the 28th, with this one being the first one. Okay, GBPJPY buy, and on the same day, not so long after that, there was another one which was essentially the exact same setup, which I'm going to talk you through. So that's the 28th of January ones, and then there was the one on Friday. Where's it gone? Which was also taken. Okay, yeah, so here we can see this was the one taken. All the trades and entries are actually on my Instagram, but we're going to go through it in detail anyway. So let's go to the first one. So this is the first trade on the 28th. So essentially what we've got here is, if you've been following GBPJPY closely in January, we can quite easily say that overall price is bullish. Okay, so there's not really any reason at this point we should be taking any sort of sells if we're going to go with the overall higher time frame bias. So we've got these higher highs forming, simple analysis. There's no reason until we break below sort of these levels or these levels that we're going to be transitioning into a 4-hour downtrend on this chart. Okay, so we've got that in mind. We're bullish overall time frame. On this particular day, we've just been stuck in this 4-hour range, but a couple of levels which were important to indicate was this 4-hour level here, which was acting as a support for this range here, and a resistance at this level, and you can see it taps into it again. So then we can move down to the 1 hour, but again, just reiterating that our overall bias is bullish on GBPJPY until we start seeing breaks of these sort of lows, even this one here, if you want to play it like that, but I had kind of considered this the same sort of area. So 1 hour chart. Now let me mark up the time I get to the charts, and that is 6 AM. Okay, so we had this move down pre-London, as London kind of opened, there was a further move down, but then we started to form support on this previous quite strong support level. So this is a 1 hour support level on this time frame, but we'd just seen before on the 4 hour is quite an important zone. Okay, now how I do it these days, and I talked through on the previous video, was once we'd seen this 1 hour candle here form bullish, okay, that's our support created. Now that doesn't mean there's an entry, because essentially what we could have here is this could just be a retest of this level before heading down. Okay, so what I actually do now is, when I see these confirmation candles, so this one could have been the same thing, is I get just a line tool and I just draw on the close of where this closed. Okay, because essentially what we want to see is on the next candles on the lower time frames, we want to see supports forming, in this case higher supports, because we're wanting to go up, and then candles closing up and above this 1 hour close. Okay, because then that means price is starting to head in the direction of the confirmation candle. Okay, so we did that here. We got this 1 hour bullish candle close, we've got the green line indicating where that candle closed, and then essentially what we're doing is we're heading down to the 1 hour the lower time frames. Okay, so 30-minute here. Well, this next 30-minute candle closed at 10:30 AM and it closed bearish, so obviously that is no trade. So again, we're still watching for these time frames. Now what you could have done here is, if you're that kind of aggressive trader, is maybe had a buy stop, remembering that your initial confirmation candle was bullish. So in your head, you wanted to go up based on this confirmation candle and the higher time frame direction. Okay, so you could have had maybe a buy stop above this bearish candle, so as price pushed up. But if you wanted to be a bit more technical, what you can do is go down to the 15-minute time frame, and you can see, well, this was the close level, so this is the candle that closed bullish on the 1 hour. These candles were the retracement, so making the lower wick on the next 1 hour candle, and then as this candle closed bullish, okay, this actually closed above the close of the previous 1 hour bullish candle. Okay, so you've now got that extra confirmation that, well, price has now formed this support and it's also formed this support. Okay, so there's a higher support formed and it's closed, closed above the 1 hour bullish candle close. So then you've got this kind of entry. Now my entry was at 380, okay, and ideally I wanted to go up to the top of the range. However, at this point when I saw this area, okay, so if we look at this on the 30-minute, this is a lot of rejection wicks. This could have just been, this was the target I took because this was essentially a 30-minute wick fill. And looking at all this over here, this mess, it wasn't kind of an area I wanted to try and break through. Essentially, this was a range as well, so we didn't want to kind of go into that. If I'd have kept my stop loss in the same position, which was just below the bodies, let's come back down to 15-minute. Yeah, just below the bodies after this closed up. Well, maybe I'd have been able to stay in it, but I'd have been holding drawdown down to this level, and basically by this point at halfway to stop loss, I'd have probably closed most of my position anyway. So I think what happened with this one is I closed 75% of profits at this level, understanding that, well, this is a likely area maybe for a turnaround, and then the rest just came down and hit break even. Okay, so that's the first one. I mean, if we want to look at it on the 5-minute, which I think we should actually, it's that same concept again. So this emphasizes your higher supports even more on this time frame, because we've got this support here, and what we was doing is after the 1 hour close bullish, we was looking for supports forming, preferably a higher support, okay, on the lower time frames, and then support moving up and closing above that 1 hour close level, which was actually here. So you could have took entries if you was really aggressive. Let's get rid of this position a second. If you was really aggressive and you wanted a tight stop loss, you could have maybe had your stop loss below this 5-minute candle that broke out, but that's not really preferred. I think what would have been best is what I did was maybe just below this 4 hour and 1 hour level, and then price pushed with volume. Okay, now I said there was a second trade on the 28th, and all we're going to do here is now go through that one, and it turns out that that trade is pretty much exactly the same as the trade taken previously. So what we've got now here is we've got price had moved up to this level, okay, let me just indicate this support on here, magnet tool, and this is what I was looking at, okay, because I look at stuff at the moment, not exactly what's happening past, but if we're at this level, I'm looking left and seeing what's important information. In this case, it's this tap and these candles here, okay. So let's get rid of that because that's irrelevant for now. We're looking at this kind of area for wick fills, and this candle closed bearish, okay, so this indicated a resistance had formed. However, the next 1 hour candle actually formed bullish, okay. So then what we're doing is we've said, well, support's been formed, and on the lower time frames we want to start looking at higher supports forming and maybe breaking up and above this 1 hour close level. Now just going back to my storyboard, okay, where's it gone? So let me just find it 1 second. Not this one. Okay, going back to this. Okay, so sorry, my apologies, this is the wrong one. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, this is the it wasn't the 1 hour this time, it was the 30-minute, which formed a bullish candle indicating a support had been formed. So we just mark that up like that. Same concept again, it doesn't matter, that was the exact same thing so I was talking about before. And essentially now what we've got is this 30-minute bullish candle close, and what we're doing is we're wanting to look for the next candles on the lower time frames, i.e. the 15-minute and 5-minute, forming higher supports to continue going up. Now on the 15-minute, this was an identical setup to what happened before. So after this 30-minute closed bullish indicating support, the next 15-minute candle closed bearish, so there's no trade. So in this case we had to go down to the 5-minute, okay, and see we've got this lower support, which was the 30-minute bullish candle. So this move here was a 30-minute bullish candle. The next 5-minute candles after the 30-minute close started moving down, forming the lower wick of the 30-minute bullish candle, okay, or the next candle, and they actually form support on here. So which was that zone we'd just drawn up before, which was this level, okay? So going back to 5 minute. Sorry about the switch between time frames, but this is confluences, okay? This is looking at all the different pieces of information. So we've got this support formed for the 30 minute, and then the next 30 minute, as it was forming its lower wick, it then formed this higher support, okay? And again here, look what happened here. This 5 minute candle broke and closed above the 30 minute bullish close. So this was a confirmation candle. Then 5 minutes were basically then confirming this candle itself, because it made a higher support and then closed above. So my entry for this one was like this, with the stop loss just below the bodies again, and then essentially I was targeting this, but as I saw this candle close, I did close some of my position, I think probably again 75%, and then the rest hit break even. Okay, so that's on my Instagram as an entry. You can go and have a look at that if you want. So that was the 2 trades on the 28th. Now let's go back to the, where is it? Let me go back to my storyboard and indicate where it is. Okay, so okay, again, you can see exactly what's happening here. We've got this green line on, which means we've got that confirmation candle telling us to go and have a look for entries. Okay, so now we just need to go and find it over here somewhere, which I believe should be here. So let me mark on my, at the charts time, 6 AM. Okay, 1 hour levels. So what I do in the morning is I'll mark up my 1 hour support and resistances, and essentially indicate the most recent key levels. Okay, so this is obviously a 1 hour range which occurred during Asian session. Now, without looking at anything else, okay, we've got this range here, we've got this resistance, this support. Now there's this target here. Okay, so this was a high which happened to be a 4 hour upper wick, okay, which essentially we can say, well, if we're moving up, as first target should be up to go up and move to fill this wick. Okay, so 1 hour time frame, let's go. So we've come to, what time is it here? 9 o'clock. Let me just check my storyboard, make sure I'm doing this right. We're going through, yep, that's fine. Okay, so here we can mark on our 1 hour candle that broke up and above out of the consolidation zone. So that's his confirmation candle. So at this point you're now saying, well, the candles broke out. We want to zoom into the lower time frame, see if we can see higher supports forming, and preferably breaks and closes above this level. Okay, so let's go down to 30 minutes, see what we can see. Not a lot of information on the 30 minute. These candles didn't really make sense. I mean, at this point you can kind of get a little bit confused, saying, well, I'm not really sure what's happening anymore. Don't let that be the case. If a time frame doesn't make sense, move up one. Just move up one time frame, and then it looks a lot clearer. Because we've got this 1 hour candle, we've got this as an ultimate target, a 4 hour wick fill. We've also got this wick on the 1 hour actually, which we can kind of say, well, probably going to go and hit this if we're going to start moving up. Okay, so 30 minute doesn't make enough sense. So let's go 15 minutes, see what we can see. Now follow me with this one, because this is the 9:30 AM 15 minute candle. So this closed at 9:45. This candle then closed at the 10 AM, which is the 1 hour close. So essentially this body here is our 1 hour close. So this point, this piece here is the close, which is also the close here. Okay, so this candle, as this candle closed at this point, this is the 1 hour level. So anything after this that moves down, considering we've got a bullish 1 hour close, we're going to say that that's probably forming the lower wick. So this moved down here. Okay, this was the formation of the lower wick for the next 1 hour candle, considering that was saying that the next candle is likely to start heading up, because that candle's closed bullish up and above the resistance level. Now, key piece of information here. This candle closes bearish. Does that mean sells? No, because our confirmation candle in the first place said we're a 1 hour bullish over a resistance level. So our bias is up, plus 4 hour time frame structure says we're going up. Okay, so we're just waiting. At this point, we're not taking sells, we're just waiting. Now look what happens next. This next 15 minute candle that closed at 10:30, okay, this closed up and above this 1 hour close body, okay, albeit not too far above, but it did. So it creates support at this level which we broke before. So this resistance level, let's type this up as a 1 hour level. We've got candles forming support at this level, which also happened to close up and above this 1 hour close level, which was bullish. So entries could have been at this point on this candle close, okay, with a stop loss below the body. First target, well, that wick, 1 hour wick fill, and then ultimate target that. And if you'd got runners, well, you'd have been in a good amount of profit for the day, okay. Now, in this point, let me just check my storyboard again, okay. Okay, yep, so that's your entry, and again we're going to zoom into 5 minutes because I want to help you guys understand what's happening on the 5 minute these days. Okay, so now this is where you do have to follow me. Let's just indicate our supports that are forming higher, because we had this support here, okay, and then essentially when what we've just said where support formed, it formed on that 1 hour level, closed above the 1 hour previous bullish close, and it closed higher than the previous ones. Okay, going down to the 5 minute. Now this is where you have to follow. Okay, so this is now that 15-minute candle close, okay, which has closed above this green zone. Now we can anticipate the next candle after the 15-minute and 30 minutes just closed above this level. Well, there should be some sort of lower wick, so you could have probably maybe waited for this lower wick to form. And then as it pushes back up above this level, or at least this level, as long as it stays above here, we're good to go up and fill these wicks and this upper 4 hour wick. So entry for this one would have been probably after this candle pulled down, made its low wick, entry as it starts to go past the bodies, and stop loss below. First target would 100% be the 1 hour wick fill. So let's go back to 1 hour so we can show you. So this wick fill first, okay, after this candle's closed, we're aiming for this, and then we're aiming for this, okay, which that would have easily been tapped. And anyone who held a runner past this point, well, I didn't, but it'd have been pretty good. So yeah, so hopefully that helps with understanding 5 minute levels. But let's just summarize what's going off here, okay. So essentially what we're saying is if a 30-minute or 1 hour candle closes how you want it to, okay, so let's just quickly go back over this. If we're saying this is resistance level, okay, and this candle here has just closed up and above this level, that's great. Okay, so now we've got an idea saying, well, this is closed up and above, and this is a target area, so we want to go from here to here. Now we need to say, well, instead of just going straight in at this body and taking an entry and being in drawdown all the way down here, which I know that a lot of people would not have held that. I wouldn't have held that. I'd probably close most of my position as it pushes past this body. Okay, so how do we eliminate that? How do we eliminate the issue of, well, we're going into drawdown, we don't know if the lower wick's forming or this is actually going to stop us out? Usually low time frame, so you've got your confirmation candle, that's like your first check on your finger, okay? You've got your confirmation. Go down to lower time frames. Does this time frame make enough sense to help you? No, not really. This is just a lot of wicks. 15-minute, does that make sense? Okay, yes, so this was our close of a 1 hour. We're just looking, we're saying, well, we'll probably know that a lower wick's going to form first, because that's what candles do. They like to form wicks before going in the other direction. So after the wick's formed, and then we're just looking for that extra confirmation. So at this point, when this one had formed its lower wick and then moved there, entries would have been safe and easy like that. Now at this point, after you've seen that bullish candle form, if the next one starts, you know, dying and going down here, well, it's probably not going to work. So at that point you should be out. But instead of your stop loss being all the way down here, okay, where the 1 hour was, what closed bullish, you now got a stop loss up here. So your 1-to-1 ratio is now only 5 pips. So now you only have to go that far now to get a pretty good amount of profit. Anything like that, that's 13.5. Whereas before, if you was taking entries straight on the 1 hour close, your stop loss would have had to have been down here. Okay, and then your 1-to-1 is so much bigger, so you need to go further to achieve that 1-to-1. And because you're entering straight as the candle body closes, you're going to get that drawdown at some point. Candles are going to form that lower wick and put you into drawdown, so something to keep in mind. Use smaller time frames to get into your positions. Don't enter straight on candle body closes. I hope everyone followed that, and well, if you didn't, just message me on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I know it can be a bit confusing, but there's 2 things to take away. One, look for your candle confirmation, the one that's telling you you've got an idea, so it gives you the idea in the first place. The next one's got to be look for them smaller time frames, forming higher or lower supports in the direction you want to go, and then breaking up and above the confirmation candles. So maybe you'll use buy stops, or maybe you'll actually wait for 5-minute candles to close above a 1 hour high, a 1 hour body, or a 30-minute body, or above or below. Look for that extra confirmation after the wick's formed to ensure that you're not going into as much drawdown as you actually need to be, okay? So hopefully that makes all a good sense, but again, if it doesn't, just message me on Instagram, we'll sort something out. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace.